Welcome to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Brecheen.
Hey everyone, you're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. I'm your host, Lee Brecheen. Our guest today is one of the all-time great coaches. One of my favorite people in the business, Frank Monica. Coach Monica, thanks for joining us today.
Well, Lee, thanks for having me. Thanks for getting me up early. now that I'm retired.
Congratulations, Coach, by the way. I mean, tell everybody how many years you've been coaching from the beginning. I mean, it's a lot of
years. 51 years, Lee. That's a long time. You know what I mean? A lot of presidents went through that.
A lot of presidents.
Many terms.
Several.
Yeah.
Double, triple terms there. Coach, before we start out, I want to mention a couple of our sponsors for our show. John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, and Lexus in Shreveport, Bossier City. Thank you for Tommy for supporting us. If you need a used or new car in the Shreveport, Bossier City area, go to them. They'll take care of you. Also, Medine's Collision Center on Kincaid Avenue in Baton Rouge, 357-798-7983. That's 225 area code 357-7983. Medine's Collision. And all this horrible weather we get in Louisiana, and bring your vehicle there, your truck or car, any needs that family-owned, Medine's Collision Center in Baton Rouge. And Coach Frank Monica, I've been around you a few times over the years. I will say this. I didn't know you when you were at Tulane, when you were coaching, but I followed you, and I got to know you really well from your time, 22 years at St. Charles. Coach, I can't believe you put 22 years in after all those days at Lutcher and Tulane, and it just went by so fast, huh, Coach?
It really was. It's been a blur. You know, all those places. My name's still on the bathroom wall at a lot of those places. You know, so that's kind of the imprint I leave. You know, something like that. So I've been very, very fortunate to work with some great administrators and assistant coaches, and you know, the bottom line are the players, and that's something I severely will miss, other players, because they keep you updated about what's going on, the latest fashion. They keep you updated with the latest slangs and whatever, and with the latest bad things to do also.
Right. I want to mention, Coach, 3 state championships for Coach Frank Monica, 284 wins, Coach. Man, that's incredible. You won a state title at Lutcher in 78. I know the Lutcher Bulldogs fans will be happy we mentioned that. Won at Riverside in 83. And one at St. Charles in 2011. You also coached at Jesuit in the 80s. I know you coached a lot of guys at Jesuit that are doing well today. Like I know Gordy Rush still keeps in touch with you. Gordy was on that Jesuit team, I believe, huh, Coach?
Exactly. He's one of the best free safeties they ever had. In fact, his claim to fame, he knocked out Leroy Horde the first play of the game against St. Aug, and Leroy went on to have a great career with Cleveland, and but Gordy was a warrior. I mean, and we ended up winning the ball game 14-7. He was the only one on the team that could tackle him.
God, and for the youngsters listening, Leroy Hard was the baddest dude at St. Aug as a running back. He was before Leonard Fournette.
No question.
But what was he like? That. He was like 220, Coach, 6 foot.
He was 230. He was 230 in high school. When he came down through the middle, I mean, he was like a freight train. And Gordy just whacked. Of course, nowadays that would have been a penalty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You hitting the shoulder too high, yeah.
Exactly.
You caught the edge of the neck there, yeah.
You're not supposed to hit too hard nowadays.
Right. Yeah, man. Gordy's going to love hearing this. And then you coached Nelson Stewart, the current coach at Newman. He was a walk-on at Tulane, huh?
Yeah, Nelson was offensive lineman and great guys. Like, he hasn't changed. He turned out to be a heck of a coach and one of the better coaches in Louisiana, and very innovative. And of course, as we all know, he has one of the best prospects in the state, also in the nation.
Yeah,
quarterback. Because I think that he's another man. And so Archer's going to be a guy that's probably destined for great things. And I just hope and pray that comes from a great family. Hope and pray he stays healthy.
Yeah, and then they got Bo Barnalong, Ben's son, who's committed to LSU, and they got the receiver committed to LSU, and Coach, their tight end's a heck of a player that's going to be a sophomore, big-time tight end.
Right, he's just a young kid. Go ahead.
We're going to take a break, Coach, and come back, and I want to ask you about your days at reserve when you went to school. You were a linebacker in baseball, shortstop, and I know you played college baseball. But when we come back, and then we'll talk about your son, too, at Rummel, who's the head coach, one of your sons.
Okay. Right.
And all you grandkids, man. We want to mention everybody today, so if the family hears it, no one's left out. But we'll be back with more with Coach Frank Monica, Hall of Fame coach in Louisiana High School and also college at Tulane for many years. We'll be right back. Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you. Welcome back. You listen to the Sports Scouting Report. Our guest today is, I want to say, Coach, you are a legend, Frank Monica. Been really good to me over the years. I had a chance. I'm really fortunate. I had a chance to go to one of your last games this past year, when y'all played. Trying to think of who it was. Franklinton, I believe.
Okay.
Franklinton?
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
And I actually caught a game. I want to mention this. I didn't know this was going to happen, Coach, and you're going to laugh when I say this, but I didn't know, because you're like me. You're a pregame guy. I like getting to games early and settling in, but I came to your school. This might have been in 18. You could tell me if I'm wrong, but Miss Gail Benson was there with the priest from New Orleans, and they were blessing the stadium. Tell them about that, because y'all had rebuilt the stadium on the homestand, and she was involved in that. I didn't know, but when I showed up, it was like you had the CIA there. Everything was blocked off, and it had all these state troopers coming in. I'm like, who's the vehicle between the state troopers? I mean, is Elvis coming back?
Yeah,
what's going on here?
You thought that they were there to arrest me. That probably been appropriate, you know what I mean?
Right.
But Gail Benson was there naturally, and Archbishop Amon from the Archdiocese of New Orleans was there. And what had happened, the Archdiocese came, and the architect came in and they declared the stadium that they had to condemn it. So because they had a couple structural cracks in the stadium and the support beams, so they said, well, we can't put people here anymore. So we had to hurry up and raise money, and our fan base went crazy over it. And I mean, we started sending out pledges and had a big function at school and the whole deal. And I'm telling you, Lee, it was remarkable to see how the fans supported that, because it's all-purpose stadium. Soccer guys use it. They use it for various activities and homecoming and things of that nature, not only for football and JV football, but and plus it's beautiful. In fact, Sonny Jackson was the guy that was actually the guy who the company that constructed.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know Coach Jackson. I know Coach.
Yeah. And first of all, what people don't realize, the old structure was part of the Tulane Stadium, and it was the largest steel constructed stadium in the United States. It held 82,000 people. That was part of the upper deck that was shipped down here.
Wow.
It was cut in half with torches and shipped down here and constructed by the parents and put up. That was the old stadium. So a lot of nostalgia with that stadium, and really broke our heart for us to have to tear it down. But it was torn down, and then right away we got a new one up, and we didn't play the initial season there. I shouldn't say that. Halfway through the season was our first ball game there.
Yeah.
And so we had to play at other venues until that stadium was completed.
And didn't they get that structure from the old Tulane Stadium by river? They had to get it by river to get it down there, huh?
Well, some of it was, but most of it was transported by truck.
Okay.
They was cut in sections and transported by the low boys and put on the flatbed trailers. But the tough job was trying to weld it all back together again. But it was a nice stadium, and now we're very, very happy with what we have. It's a brand new stadium, and I think that everybody contributed to it. In fact, we always mentioned we should have continued raising the money for the turf field also. But we do have a nice grass for you. It's the same grass that LSU has in Tiger Stadium. So, we're very, very happy with that. And the players love that grass. Coach
Frank Monica, our guest today. Coach, it was like Mardi Gras, though, when Gail Benson got out of her car and all the priests were walking with her. They had people on each side. And I was watching you, and you were getting ready for your game, too. You were in game mode. And I said, Coach, man, I bet he's timing this out, because I know it was like 30 minutes maybe more than normal before kickoff.
Right.
And I said, man, this is not something coaches I know he loves this, but when Gail and the priest came through, it looked like Mardi Gras with people on each side, and they were clapping. It was hundreds of people there. It was
It's
something
hard to
see.
keep your game face on, Lee. I mean, right prior to the ball game, it's really hard to keep your focus. And we had the players out there too, naturally. And our principal, Dr. Miet, she orchestrated the whole thing, and she wanted to make a big splash. And I'm glad she did, because I mean, she was very instrumental in pushing this thing forward. And we had one of our big supporters, Louis Altamont, a lawyer. They combined to do all the legwork. So it was tremendous, and what a feat that we pulled off right there in such a short period of time.
Yeah,
From the
man,
time that we noticed that we had to get a new one in the spring, and the time that we had it constructed was just maybe a short period of about 4 months. So I mean, what a remarkable job that they did,
Coach. For the listening audience, just to change it, thinking in my head, a couple more great players that played for you, and I want to get your thoughts. And they've really done well with their careers at Lutcher. What's your thoughts, Coach? You coached Terrence Jones, who played at Tulane, was phenomenal at Tulane, quarterback at Lutcher. And then
right.
Lionel Washington, one of my favorite DBs to ever come out of Louisiana.
Right.
Those guys are been instrumental in a lot of young men's lives. They've coached. Lionel's been a coach for a long time. I mean, his tenure, I think Lionel played several years in the NFL. Terrence had a great career. I mean, what is your thoughts on those two guys? You coached them at Lutcher.
Yeah, just want to clarify. Terrence, when I left, was a ninth grader, so I didn't get a chance to coach him on varsity. Okay, when I went to Tulane, Lionel was a cornerback for us, and it's an interesting story. Lionel was Lee, real quick. Lionel wanted to go play basketball in college, so he got a college offer, and I sat him down. And I said, and his nickname is Mac. He's still the defense coordinator now at Southern University, And I said, Mac, what are you doing playing college basketball? He said, Coach, I love basketball. I said, I understand that. I said, but 6-foot point guards are a dime a dozen. I said, I want you to know that. And I said, you really need to consider football. So lo and behold, he listened to me, and he took the Tulane offer. He played 4 years there, started as a freshman, played 15 years in the NFL league, and is one of 4 guys that started 15 years at a cornerback position in NFL, and a phenomenal guy. He was a 13.7 hurdler in high school, so he was just a phenomenal guy. One guy that I need to mention, and in fact, in the 75, I was offensive coordinator at Lutcher with Lou Sandoval, and we won the state championship that year too. In fact, we won in the baseball also in 1975. That when I was just a coordinator and Lou Sandoval was the head coach at them. But we had a guy by the name of Wilfred Simon.
Oh gosh, he was good.
I mean, he might be the most electric player that I've ever coached in high school. He could do so many things, He could run. He later played at Tulane. He played in the Canadian League for a little while. Unfortunately, passed away at a young age.
Yeah.
But he was a tremendous player. And I had another by the name of Wayne Albert. And Wayne is he's still working there, a very productive father. But Wayne was injured. He broke 2 bones in his neck at practice one day. And he was a phenom coming out of high school as a junior. Already had offers for people like LSU and stuff like that as a junior. So unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to play college ball after that.
Coach, I remember when Wilford was playing at Tulane.
Right.
And he dominated LSU.
He made 22 tackles one night against LSU.
Yeah.
22 tackles. That's hard to do. That's hard to do in a video game.
Right. They couldn't block him. I mean, he was just incredible. How big was Wilford, Coach? How big was he at Tulane?
On the scale, Wilford never weighed more than 225, maybe 6'1.5", but he had unbelievable instincts and so quick. He played at the nose position, and I mean, he gave centers fits. By the time the center snapped the ball, especially on his snap hand side, Wilford would swim over him, and he was in the backfield. I mean, unbelievable instincts that he had, and he was relentless on the field and the whole deal. And I'm just. Unfortunately, his life ended, at that early age, and which none of us deserved. But he was a tremendous high school and college player.
Coach, he reminds me of the Michael Brooks of Tulane, that played at LSU from Ruston. He was bigger. He was like Superman. You would have thought he was 6'5", 290.
Right.
Because
exactly.
I was in my young teens when I watched him play at Tulane. Me and my dad went to the game, and my dad told me, he said, that one got away from LSU. That guy's unbelievable.
Exactly.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we were going to talk about reserve, but all the great players that came out of the era, like A.J. Dewey and Terry Robisky and Lewis Lips, and all these great players from the river parishes. Get your thoughts on them, and then your family. I want to talk about your sons, the great job they're doing in coaching right now. We'll be back with more with Frank Monica. Looking for a used car? Harvey Autos has 3 dealerships, which means 3 times the used vehicles. They've got everything from fuel-efficient compacts to luxury models, even hybrids, and certified pre-owned with a warranty. Check out John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, or Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City. Welcome back. You listen to the Sports Scouting Report. Our guest today is Frank Monica. Again, congratulations with retirement. I mean, you haven't went through a full calendar year retired, so, I mean, I know you're still trying to get used to it, huh, Coach?
Just 2 days, Lee. Last Friday was my official time to retire. You know what I mean? So now I have 6 Saturdays and a Sunday to every week. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Yeah. And, you know, Lee, I mean, the thing about retirement, it's scary because, you know, a lot of people don't like their jobs, you know, and they look forward to retirement. Well, I've never considered what I did a job. And I told my wife, if I ever say I'm going to work, I never called it work. I always say I'm going to the office of going to school.
Right.
I mean, because this is my passion. It was not only was it my profession, but it's my passion. And so it's going to be hard in the fall to look at it. Even with baseball, it's hard to watch baseball and not knowing that you won't be part of it in a full capacity anyway.
Well, now that, like they say, you got to go get a hobby since football was your hobby, right? You got to go get a hobby.
Right.
When I retire, if I ever get to retire, Coach, I want to go fish more. I'm a big fisherman. So
right.
I don't know if I'll like fishing that much, but I want to go fishing again.
I like to fish. I like to hunt. I've gotten involved with hunting, and my son and I, especially. So this way, I can have the grandkids come up when they get of age and stuff like that. And I like to play the racetrack a little bit, you know. So
okay.
So we're gonna have fun with that. And so of course, I might be a divorce in the family, but you know.
Coach, you've got your son Ty, who's been on your staff, still there as offense coordinator at St. Charles Catholic. You got your other son Nick, who's got a state championship at Archbishop Rommel.
Right.
Talk about your grandkids. I want to be able to let you brag on them. I know you got a lot of grandkids you're going to be able to spend a lot of time with now. So
right.
Talk about the
first
family.
of all, my son Ty he's the softball coach, and they got beaten sulfur.
Okay.
They beat the sulfur several times. They won a state championship a few years back, and he's also the offensive coordinator, and he's the kind of the analyst and hard worker, very, very smart, very smart. He's a geometry teacher also. Nicholas, my other son, became the head coach when Coach Ross stepped down. He became the head coach and recommended Nicholas for the job. And they went 2 years ago. They won the state championship, and he's done it, and he's got all involved in it because he was the head baseball coach, and he gave that up to become the football coach, like I did, I guess, years ago at St. Charles and at Lutcher. I did the exact same thing. So I mean, so we have a similar background there. And I have 2 daughters that they both play ball. They play softball, basketball, and the volleyball. And one of them has 5 young kids, and the other has 2.
Wow.
Nicholas has 2, and Ty has 3.
Whoa!
And Lee, pray for me because we're going to Disney World with them in July, in the heat of the summer in July, and it's going to be a madhouse. So I'm trying to get myself in shape for this deal. So I might need to take some Valiums or get some wacky weed or something because it'll be quite a trip. But they're beautiful kids and it's fun. And somebody said, well, they make you schedule for you. You don't have to worry about what you have to do because they will make you schedule for you.
Yeah, that's a lot of Mickey Mouse, huh, Coach?
Amen. So that's going to be an endurance test in itself. And so, I mean, but we're looking forward to it. I know they are because it's the first time that any of them ever been.
Yeah, man. You deserve it, though. I mean, you've put in a lot of hard work. Like I said, it wasn't work to you. You love it. Like me, I love this. And but talk about your days, Coach. When you were at Reserve High School, you were a baseball player in college, and you were a good baseball player in high school. And a lot of people don't realize that A.J. Dewey is from the area that played for the Dolphins, LSU. Tara Robisky,
right.
Lewis Lips.
Right.
It just goes on and on.
Yeah, there's a lot of good players. I mean, they had a guy like Leroy Labatt that was before my time that was there, and he was called a Black Stallion at the time from Reserve. And the school now was called East St. John, but there were a lot of good players there. A.J. Dewey came, he was younger, and we didn't play together. He came after us. And the other guy a guy that's also in the Hall of Fame, Joe Keller, was there. I was a football coach, and Joe Keller was our head football coach, and his son became the head coach at East St. John at one time and worked with me at Jesuit High School. But AJ, Terry Robisky was from West St. John on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
But Lewis Lift played at reserve at East St. John High School. Like, I recruited Lewis to Tulane, and in the end, we did not really offer him a full ride. He ended up going to Southern Mississippi and had a phenomenal career over there.
Yeah.
But Lewis was a great athlete there. I mean, in those days in the river, I mean, if we had a Lutcher reserve, which was funny because Lutcher was our rival. I ended up coaching at Lutcher when I played it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people didn't say, "What are you doing? You're doing that?" I mean, but what had happened, we had a huge parade. And the parade might have been 2 miles long on a Sunday. All the games were played on a Sunday. And it was a packed house. It was the last game of the year every year on a Sunday afternoon. And it was just unbelievable. There are pictures of it and what went on during that time and all kinds of festivities and people standing on top of the gym. But that was a great, great tradition. They ended up cutting it out after a while when they were in different districts and things of that nature. But it was the guy, my high school years. I mean, I was a baseball player. I was registered to go to LSU to play, and I was going to walk on in football. But lo and behold, Ray Didier from Nicholls State offered me a scholarship out of American Legion in the summer. So I ended up going to Nicholls State, played for Ray Didier for 4 years, and Lee, with 1970, our college baseball team made it to the finals in the World Series.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, the university division and the college division, and we were beaten 2-1 for the national championship. I think it's the last time Nicholls State ever played for a national championship in any sport, and that was 1970. And we had some real good players. One right there from your backyard, Michael Omar was a shortstop, and we had people, like Kenny Alford and Gene Dewey were there with us, and so we had some really good players back then. And but it was a great experience. And Ray Didier was just a phenomenal baseball coach, and to this day, he's gave me a lot of things that I use as a value system.
Coach Monica, we're going to take a break, bring you back. One more segment. I want to ask you about some of the great players like Jimmy Ardenneau, Wayne Stein, who's now, you passed the baton to Wayne, and who's going to be the coach at St. Charles.
Right.
You got a linebacker going to Tulane I want to talk to you about. I'm high on him. I love him. You love him. He was on the cover of our book a year ago that just signed with Tulane. And we'll talk about the moving forward. What do you think of some of those seniors that you coached that are coming up for Coach Stein now? We'll be right back with more with Coach Frank Monica. So, hey, guys, just wanted to take a minute to tell you about Harvey Autos. If you need a new or used car, there's 3 great dealerships right here worth checking out. John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, and Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City. Low prices, honest people. Tell them Lee sent you. Welcome back. You listen to the Sports Scouting Report. Our guest today is Coach Frank Monica. Before we go back to Frank, Jesuit High School won the baseball Class 5A state championship. And I want to mention they just won the lacrosse state championship in 5A. I'm not a big lacrosse guy. I'm learning it as I go. But their MVP was Max Milano, who was a receiver for Jesuit. Just to throw that out there, he was the MVP of the state championship game. Max runs a 4.41 Coach. 5'8", 165 pounds, was a slot receiver for Jesuit. And right now he's leaning to go to Ole Miss to enroll as a student and hopefully get on the football team at Ole Miss as a walk-on, Max Milano. But pretty interesting tidbit, huh? Jesuit's doing pretty good lately.
Oh, no question. I mean, they're a tremendous school. Spent 5 years there, and it was really a lot of fun. They give you great support there, and a lot of athletes to pick from. And they're hardworking guys, and I don't know anything about lacrosse, Lee. I don't know if you know that.
Right.
Of course, they say the same thing. They say the same thing about me in football too.
Oh no!
You know that too. But I know it's a sport that's really growing. It's taking, it's different. It's different, especially it's popular in New Orleans. It hadn't gotten down to the river yet. Right now they think lacrosse is they think that's a NASCAR racetrack or something.
Right.
But it hadn't gotten down here. But that's a great school.
Yeah, some other good programs in lacrosse that were in it in 5A, and it was St. Thomas More, C.E. Bird of Shreveport. Lower Alabama, I don't know who James Moore is. Caddo Magnet, which is, I think that's in Shreveport area, so they don't have football. But Catholic High, Baton Rouge, it's pretty good in lacrosse. On a on a very somber note, I want to mention this, Coach. We just found out this morning, actually Jay saw it, and I want to say prayers to the family of Lane Mangum, who passed away this week. Football player, baseball player from Calvary Baptist. Was going to be a senior this coming year, starting linebacker at Calvary Baptist. Won a state title as a starter. A great kid. Again, prayers to that family, huh, Coach?
Amen.
Amen.
How tragic it would be to lose one of your own. There's nothing worse in the world than that. I'll put him on the prayer list for our school and the whole deal.
Prayer to their family and the whole Calvary Baptist community and everybody there. Prayer. I just want them to know prayers from us. Coach, you've retired, but Wayne Stein is the head coach now, who played for you. Was a running back in college. I remember covering him. He was a tough-nosed player in high school, and he brings that to that coaching staff with you. I've been impressed with him. He was with you a long time as a coach too. But what do you think of Wayne? And he's taken over, and for you, it's tough shoes to fill now. I'm gonna tell you that. And I know that you're going to Disney World, and you said you're one of the greatest coaches ever. But I know Wayne's been with you, and he's picked up a lot of what and how you do things. He's been with you a long time.
Well, he's also my nephew, Lee.
I didn't know that. I did not know
he's
that.
He's the nephew of my sister, Maria.
Okay.
And, so Wayne grew up with the family. He and Ty and Nicholas were always together. In fact, he and Nicholas were roommates at ULL at one time.
Wow.
Because Nicholas played baseball at college at ULL for 1 year, then transferred to junior college. So they were roommates at one time. Wayne's been part of my staff since he joined it. I coached him in baseball, but I didn't get a chance to coach him in football because I got there in the spring. But I mean, the bottom line was that he's a hard-nosed guy. He's a hard worker. He'll be well organized, and he's a super secondary coach and a defensive coordinator. And I think what he's going to do is Ty's going to run the offense. Wayne's going to run the defense. And Lee, all I did was just kind of point him in the right direction. When you become a head coach, you keep the things that you thought were good, and then you purge the things that were not. So it's his now, and so he has a chance to do whatever he wants to change the things or make it better. And I think that he's going to do a phenomenal job with it. No question in my mind. He's actually coaching both sports right now. He's still doing baseball for a period of time, and he's doing football too. And they're getting ready now. They started working out, and they're getting ready for 7-on-7. As you know, we probably have the best daily 7-on-7 league in the state.
Yeah.
We have 12 teams on Wednesday morning that will come out. And Newman will be there. Jesuit will be there. John Eretz of the world. John Curtis is going to get in for the first time this year. But we hold it on our campus every Wednesday morning at 9:30. So they're getting ready for that. But there's no question about mine. Wayne and his staff, they know where all the bones are buried, so they know what to do.
Right.
And I think they'll be very, very successful.
Coach, what do you think of your linebacker that I think is phenomenal? Me and you talked about it. He just signed with Tulane, was a starter there. It seemed like 10 years, but great player going to Tulane. I think he's got a chance to be phenomenal for Tulane.
Well, he's long. He can run. He's an excellent hitter. He's quite a kid. Tulane's I think they're getting a blue guy. They would have been highly recruited to the SEC schools, but I think their family is very, very happy where he is, and he's going to be very successful because he covers sideline to sideline. If he had a deficiency, since he's kind of tall and rangy, he would tackle on the shoulder pads a little bit, but he's going to get used to that. When he finds out those bigger backs, he's going to have to tackle them a different way, but he will get to you. He can run, and he's hard to block. And more importantly, he's just a tremendous leader.
Yeah.
Behind the goalpost, that guy was unbelievable. He did everything you asked him to do, and he would get in your face with any player, to get them to motivate themselves. And he never took a lazy step on the field. He was that kind of guy at practice or anything.
Full throttle.
Never missed practice. He's one of those kind of guys. He's a coach's dream. Those guys don't come around too often.
And his name is Mandel Eugene.
Mandel Eugene.
Right. Eugene. And I saw him play in person his junior year. Saw him his sophomore year, but I saw what impressed me most about him, Coach, was he went down as a gunner on special teams as a starter. And he took out everybody.
Yeah, Lee, and it's funny because we had a rule that don't let them trade two. If they trade 2 for 1, somebody becomes a free hitter. And that's what people started doing to him. They started double teaming him. But when they did that, they also allowed somebody else to go unblocked. And because of our scheme that we used, and he was phenomenal at that. You're exactly right. And we taught them never to chop their feet, so you don't break down, you run right through it. And he loved that. He loved that aspect of the game. And if not anything else, he can really, really get on the field at Tulane by just doing that.
Well, I want to mention to you, I say this from the top and bottom and middle of my heart, you're one of the last coaches that I know in Louisiana that treated the program like a college, and the kids respect you because the way you ran your game day, the way you ran everything was like being at Tulane, like being at LSU. And I just want you to know that because you were so organized, and the discipline with those guys, they respected the you-know-what out of you, and I do too. So we're going to miss you in coaching, but I tell you, when you're Disney World, drink one for me. Because I need to go too.
Well, Lee, the one thing about we hope that the kids learn something from it, because our motto is there's no right way to do the wrong thing. We had a rule that you don't take your helmet off on the sideline.
Yeah.
And the kids bought into that. When we had college players to go to on a college, they still subscribed to that same rule, because I didn't want a guy, when I called for a player, if I called for Brecheen, where's my helmet? Well, that helmet better be on your head.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, little things like that. And we got a lot of compliments about that and how we ran on and off the field, because I think that hustle in itself kind of showed, at least not anything else, discipline. I think if you make the small things important, the big things take care of themselves.
We need more of that, Coach, in this game, don't we, moving forward?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we need more discipline, because it's becoming a showboat deal and the whole deal. And I just hope that this transfer portal stuff and the eligibility things do not sift down into high school. And remember that they are high school players, but there's so much going on in college athletics that I can see that can really hurt the game.
Coach, before we end the show, don't hang up. I want to tell everybody to get, and I'm going to still be sending it to you. Actually, I need to get your address, because if you're not going to be at the school anymore, I need to mail you the magazine for life, Coach, from me. So before you get off the phone, send me your home address off the air, and I'm going to send you this year's magazine. It's our 25th year, Coach. And so,
no kidding. Wow, super.
Any parents listening, pre-order a magazine. Go to our website, lafootballmagazine.com. All these kids from St. Charles Catholic that are coming up, there's a good senior group. Coach didn't leave he didn't leave it bare. Now there's a lot of good seniors coming back from St. Charles for Coach Stein, and so they're going to have a good team this coming year. All those kids will be in there, and all the kids in the state. So lafootballmagazine.com. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Brecheen.